This is a short tutorial to show you how to graph demand and supply curves and how to solve for equilibrium. So let's talk about graphing demand. Here we have a demand equation. Quantity demanded is equal to 100 minus 1 times the price. And to get started with graphing, we're going to create a table substituting in values of P and calculating what the quantity demanded will be. So let's start the table. Let's substitute in first a value of 0 for P, and when we calculate, we see that if P is 0, Q is equal to 100. So then we substitute in another value of P and repeat the calculations, and so on. Once we have our table completed, then we're ready to graph. Be sure to label your axes. Once our graph is ready, then we just substitute in and plot the values of P and Q that we created in our table. After all of the points are plotted, we can connect them with a straight line, and we have our demand function. The process for graphing supply is basically the same thing, except we have a different equation. Here, quantity supplied is equal to -20 plus 2 times the price. So again, we're going to create a table, and we're going to substitute in different values of P. And once we substitute those in, we're going to solve for quantity supplied. Once the table is done, we're ready to graph. Once all of our points are plotted, we can again connect them with a straight line, and we have our supply function. Now, using the equations for quantity demanded and quantity supplied, we can solve for equilibrium using a little bit of algebra. And we know that in equilibrium, demand is equal to supply. To solve for equilibrium, we set the demand and supply functions equal to one another. Then we use a little bit of algebra to solve for P. When we do our algebra, we find out that the equilibrium price is equal to 40. We still have to solve for equilibrium quantity. To solve for equilibrium quantity, we substitute our value of P back into the original equation and then solve for Q. And here we see the equilibrium quantity is 60. It's a good idea to substitute the value of P back into both the demand and supply functions to ensure that we get the same quantity so we know we have equilibrium. So let's now substitute back into the supply function. If these two numbers match, then we've successfully solved for equilibrium price and quantity.